Hmm. Breathing into it, focusing. I know there's lots of talk about breath and the importance, but truly, sometimes if you really focus on your breath, you notice what it does. You notice the healing and you notice that it's breathing life into you in a way you maybe don't do very often. I'm just looking for can't remember when I used this one, but I'll use this one. Homemade tracks with various instruments blended together. Maybe this is kind of meditational. Add that into the comments. Motivational, inspiration are the same thing. All the HTML words I'm putting in there, which will hopefully show up later. But just in case, it wouldn't take much to say that this shall be kind of meditational, motivational, conversational, sensational, and perhaps other ones. I was trying to find live streams to watch myself today, and somebody left within seconds. The patience and ADHD of some people is just, but maybe they're planning to watch it later. But if not, it's just, or it's so quick to judge. I mean, yeah, sure, I don't need to make mention of it, but it's interesting to note that, and it's interesting to kind of see that. It's interesting, but it's kind of sad. It's kind of that's kind of the way. But if it on the news feed, it's showing them all kinds of stuff. I get it. I do get it. But it's still kind of sad. Not just my content, but people in general. When things like that happen, it's kind of like kind of feel into it for a few moments. Like I was looking for live streams to watch earlier for a little over an hour, or on and off a little over an hour. And I let me know if the music is distracting. It's intended to be kind of relaxing in the background, but the particular part that it's on right now maybe is more distracting than not. Anywho, I what I was seeing was a lot of, I guess, news and politics. Not a lot of like smaller. Like, oh, and the person that's like, oh yeah, I want to go watch the news about politics. Not good, but just gonna skip this ahead a bit here, or maybe find a different track altogether. That it's not really white noise in like the true definition of white noise, I don't think, but it kind of sounds like it's just a moment. God is being good. He's been sleeping very relaxed today, which is good because it might be fairly hot out, but I've got no plans. So, um, try this one. I mean, maybe I should go to the newsfeed for a moment just to kind of better kind of describe um, what I was meaning. I mean, it's not to say that I didn't see a lot of good content. In fact, I watched one. It's a bit of a turnoff that the title was all in capitals, but I realize, and we should all realize, and look at the words said and the context or the way something is said before we decide whether somebody's shouting. Because I mean, his title is actually his. Well, anyway, and but it's clear that he's not. It's not super clear that he's emphasizing. I guess it is. But what's interesting is that the topic was not actually, um, or when I tuned in, which was it looks like about 36 minutes in, maybe 38. Um, it doesn't seem to just be about what it said it was about, which is fine. Now, one thing I should state: do we have anybody watching right now? No. Um, I mean, those that comment after your comments will be showing. Um, but one thing maybe I should state is because I don't know if it just highlights in the corner for me when I put the comments in there to highlight it apart from other people's. I don't know. But they at least are there. They do show there. And I would imagine on most devices. Anywho, so um, it was also the amount of equipment. Like, it's not necessary, and it distracts me, to be quite honest. But I mean, like, that's just music. That's just all four of those, or five of them, are just like playlists, music playlists. A whole bunch of them actually are, but that could be because those are utilized often uh, as background music. Um, this is not showing as much variety as it sometimes does, but even that is not. The best I can say is news. It's good to kind of know about some stuff sometimes, but at the same time, it's just depressing, distracting, you know, and there's not a whole lot that we can often do about things that are going on. So, and I think that's another thing I wanted to remember to say in this, but I'm just going to also put it in the comments. Um, um, no, I did get videos recently that I didn't expect to do better. And, but again, there's just so much on YouTube. How do we stand out these days? I don't know. At the same time, do we have to? Do we have to? I don't know. Because there's a part of me that feels like, again, the right people will see it, and that, uh, and that's good enough. Um, you know, um, you know, it's actually been a bit of a turnoff lately. I mean, people can look. I mean, this channel has kind of ebbed and flowed and kind of like been active and then not active and then active again and this and that. But as far as like numbers go, and putting content up, but it's kind of like um, it's sorry. I think I'm going in the wrong direction. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not that I don't. Whoops. Sorry. It's not that I don't care about subscribers. There being subscribers. Um, I just feel like big impact for even a small amount of people here and there is is just as good, or I don't know, because it's that's what it's all about, more than numbers. It's about who is receiving the impact from the content, and how are they positively, to use this word again, being impacted by it, and also where's the mutual benefit. um, I just want to kind of, apparently, uh, I just want to kind of quickly look at something here, because I've looked. And, don't know if you've read it. I mean, it's kind of a common name anyway, but I've looked, and one can do this, and you can do this, and I'm saying two different things kind of there, but if you're depressed, if you're feeling lonely or unloved, you have me at this channel and the other person who sometimes uploads on it. You have um, the internet in general. I mean, it's a vast place, but there is a lot of love. There is a lot of support, and kindness. Um, and that's what we should all be aiming for, because we can, and because it matters. And because when we give it, we are more likely to receive it. Sometimes maybe people struggle because they don't receive it very much and they're kind of bitter or whatever. I'm not judging. I'm just stating what I feel to be a true point. Is there a way I can make this bigger? Just a moment here. Okay. I don't know what that did for this window. Okay. No changes, then that's fine. That's why I try something. You know, Part of my journey is to spread positivity and help those struggling with mental health, mental illness, mind health, mind wellness are better ways to say it, but less common. Um, and yeah, so if you're feeling sad, first realize that the fact that you're still breathing is a miracle. Through every bad time, and every bout of anxiety, depression, so you're still here. And I know it was hard to get here, to this point perhaps, where you're still alive, but feel like you're barely living. Or know someone that feels that. Or there's a part of you that feels an emptiness, that hopes for improvement. That finds yourself spending some time on YouTube and coming across random videos such as this. And you're meant to. Maybe this is what you need. If you're here, there's a reason. Living and watching this video. Because you could be doing something else. And as much as I want everybody to feel fulfilled and like they're doing worthwhile things, this too can be. And I'm happy that you're here. You owe yourself a smile, a pat on the back, a hug for that. Perhaps you're feeling stuck in life. Perhaps you're just unwinding from a busy day or taking a break within a busy day. You may think it's just a coincidence, but I feel like you're here for a reason. I'm here for you. I'm proud of you for making it. And I'm sorry if you don't hear that enough. I'm just kind of mindfully also thinking about what it is that I want to say in this. Um, Watch who you're surrounding yourself with and continue to persist in life. Um, you know, with good influences, whether that is in person, online, just yourself, or some combination of those. Nobody has the answer as to why we're here, and that is different for everybody, but there is always some commonalities. And I'm assuming most people will know the word common, even if they don't hear the word commonality very often. I believe it is one, and if it isn't, I'm still using it because I can't think of a different one. Um, you know, what is your reason for getting out of bed every day, even if it's just a little bit of a reason? Conversely, what is your reason that you struggle to? I may be a stranger, but if you open up, I can help you. Perhaps we will find us both being open with each other and sharing our experiences and our struggles and relating. And perhaps also finding ways where, well, actually, I got that pretty good. I'm pretty good with that. Um, One or both of us may feel. And, you know, we do all have different strengths as much as similar and different weaknesses as much as similar. Strangers are people that you have yet to meet while we're working on living and creating our future. I'm thinking of somebody that I know that passed away quite young. I'm also thinking of, unless it's just been today, because I've been looking, as one would be curious with this kind of thing. I know somebody whose mother is now 105 or 106 for a couple months, almost three. And the contrast of those two. But one thing I will say that I shared with the group I attended not long ago, which is not super often um, happening, even though it is happening in July, so I might try to, um, is that sometimes one's life, even if they're young, runs its course. You know, sure, we could say there's an afterlife, but when somebody physically leaves this world and the music kind of stops, especially when they do so at a young age, we can't exactly undo it. We have to accept that that is just their soul's journey. And in some ways, ours too, because then we have to kind of live with and accept that. And then I think of this person I know who's in their hundreds. Um, and the question of they're still living, although with Alzheimer's and probably other struggles, although it wasn't bad into her 90s, she must have a purpose. Ages ago, I told myself, maybe she's good company at the seniors home that she stays in. And the older people will understand whether they have it or not. The other residents that she has Alzheimer's, and so she's going to communicate in certain ways or struggle to. And I'm sure that her son dearly misses her. And I'm sure that the kids that she has that are caring for her, and one of them lost her son to suicide. I'm not sure if she had other kids. Two of the uh, other children have passed away, or at least one. Two. Well, two, possibly three, actually. Um, I was kind of briefly not thinking about the one that I actually knew. Uh, I guess that felt too obvious. I don't know. To me. Um, but I don't know if the other one has kids or not. But the point of the matter is that it's hard to care for an older parent. Huh? Anyway, we don't have to get too much into that, please. But basically, you know what? It sparks an interesting question that I'm going to ask. Um, but yes, it's interesting. I just wasn't finding something small scale. I almost thought I did, and I guess just before this, I kind of did, but there was something that made me think, nah. But there was also, I don't know who they were talking about, but it seemed like it was, yeah, no, not something I would have. Anywho, like she had quite a bit, but otherwise, she could have totally been husband. Um, what's I just googled what is the meaning of living into your hundreds with Alzheimer's because it's hard to see. And part of me, not that I'm around this person very often or that close with her, I had been, but we drifted and we aren't related. And I knew her son who's passed away, and I keep thinking, how nice it'd be for them to be together, and how hard her life must be for her. But there was always good. The social connections, various activities, simply enjoying beautiful things. Having a sense of purpose and meaning can help maintain cognitive function. Being resilient. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, actually, because I don't know if I have any others. The question is kind of a unique one, and it's just one thing within this video. What do you think somebody's purpose in life would be who has made it to 100? Let's even say 90. You know, there are a lot of smart young people that have been through a lot of stuff, but there is also, obviously, I do somewhat believe, and I think most of us probably would, that with age comes more wisdom. But when you have Alzheimer's or decreased functioning, I'm not, I don't want to come across the wrong way, but I'm just simply curious. What do you think is someone's life purpose when they are over 100 or close to 100 and have Alzheimer's? Like, I would imagine quality of life is pretty low. And we've had somebody there a couple times briefly. I don't know if I've made them think of their parent or grandparent or what, but anyway, regardless of it, you know, there is some importance to waking up and getting through the day, to keep laughing, keep smiling, even crying, keep living. because someday you'll be dying. And though life may be eternal, and I'm fairly sure it is, in a lot of ways it's very different from this life. So we should enjoy the things that we have in this life as much as we can. I send thoughts of healing to those that are affected by the wildfires, really anywhere, but especially parts of Canada or what I know about. It's interesting that I'm finding myself doing this, and there's a different method than kind of tried through the day. Oh, dog is really. I've just got to pause the music for a moment and just take a quick photo of the way he's laying. I don't know if I've ever seen him quite lay in that position before, at least not on that chair. The music can play. I don't remember exactly what I said the title was at this point. I kind of do. And this would fit it. Maybe I'll add it into the description that I'm doing this. I don't know. And even though people can hear this after the fact, I kind of want to wait until somebody tunes in, because that is in the moment. And I know that there's somebody that needs to hear some of this stuff. I know it. Many people, probably. Myself included, perhaps, but as I said the other day in the video, and as I often feel, it's not all about me. So if you are dealing with mental health, and let's face it, who isn't to some level, I would say, whether it's, the way stress is affecting you, or the viewer left, whatever. Can't remember what I clicked on to when I was thinking of doing this specific next part. But one idea I did have was to do it live. And maybe I will. I'll go for at least another half hour. Possibly even if this does kind of pick up activity wise, I think that if I don't continue rolling, I at least have to go do something briefly at that point in about half an hour. Yeah. And one of the people I've been following on here has been kind of away sick for a while, and he's all about spreading positivity in his own unique way, and so am I. So here I am doing so. So if you're struggling with, and the person, again, you know, all the reasons I've sometimes mentioned in some of these videos as a reminder to self, and because I find myself verbalizing it, and I think that, it's good for others to know that it could be the case too. You know, um, you know, one can never know, but it's more positive to think that it's not personal, and that's fine. I'm almost tempted. I've kind of been softening my gaze a little bit. I'm almost tempted to close my eyes as I do this. Get another water. Being good, kid. Being good. Living on your Christmas day. I'm just going to quickly. I have sensitive gums and teeth somewhat, and could be doing more, but and I'm not feeling it. But by the end of the year, we'll probably use up what we have on our benefit plan. So I'm just kind of taking a little bit of water that was left in this and adding cold to it, so that it is closer to a perfect temperature. And it did settle back down, so I'm happy about that. I don't think this is super loud on this side of things. I don't think it is, because to people that don't realize that I've become a little bit meditative. They might come and think this guy talks very methodically and kind of I don't think monotone, but very kind of, and some people aren't in a mode to be able to process this kind of thing right now, with what's going on around them or whatever. But I am, and I'm going to just spend about 10 minutes doing this for me and anybody else who might benefit from it. And let me know your thoughts. And I'm winging it. I'm winging it because I didn't quite intend for this to come up and to do this kind of idea. I didn't. It's kind of my style. Partly because of ADHD, perhaps. I can be organized, and that does not mean that I'm not going to get distracted in the process. I try and finish thoughts. If I don't, I come back around to them, or I wasn't meant to. But it's, you gotta be able to roll with it a little bit. You never know when a positive comment might come in, and I might want to engage because I know that they want to be heard and seen for their comment, and I understand the feeling. And it's hard for me to kind of do this knowing that nobody's currently watching, knowing that right now it's me, and people might after the fact, but or as I'm doing it. And so what I'm trying to tell myself here is that you know um, is that as I get my words confused, because there was actually two almost empty ones because of that method I do, and then the one I brought out here, and is that what's meant for me and the people that watch afterwards will transpire. What's meant for anybody else that comes in during will transpire. They will be here for it, and to have that acceptance and awareness. just past the noon hour, so a lot of people locally will probably be out of their lunch hour, depending on if they take it at the noon hour. And one person I'm thinking of specifically. So I'm just going to think about what I want to say. Sit for a few moments in quiet, perhaps. If somebody tunes in, I will just try and make myself articulate things because, sure, they could probably get the vibe that this is meditational. But whether we want to call it guided or blabbering, a lot of us really can only do meditation if there's words. Otherwise, we're just in our own thoughts. We're in our own thoughts, and there's no judgment there. But and whatever, so. I woke up this morning. I was having a fairly pleasant dream. There was another woman in it. I'm not sure who it was. It almost reminded me of somebody from a group I went to recently, but I'm not entirely sure. And I honestly don't remember that many details, even not long after waking up. I barely remembered any details other than that it was pleasant. And I know what can give us more pleasant sleep dreams if we don't have them. And I can also analyze dreams, just not nightmares. But I wanted to fall back into it. And my day kind of allowed for it, kind of didn't. But I also, what seems to be very strong pulls for me today, maybe a little bit extra emphasis, is not that I don't or can't experience these moments often, but is either sleep or just really focusing on relaxation. Also, healing. Also, clarity. Also, being there for others. And there are so many things that can affect and the person that was there for a few seconds. Mental health. Now, I was going to say, should I focus on, mental health specifically, for a few minutes? And then I started thinking, well, what about things like unemployment, grief? And I thought, but you know what? Those things can affect your mental health, for lack of a different way of putting it. We all know that. Now, a little earlier, I had alluded to something that I mostly feel like doing. I'm going to try doing it really quickly now, 38 minutes in, while there's nobody here. It's not that I don't want this part to be heard, but I'm okay if it's not, this particular part. If I do this, people are going to think, oh, he's religious. I'm not. So I don't want to watch this. But it's interesting the parallels and how things can coexist, different beliefs and stuff. I've even heard a pastor say that once. Albeit, he shouldn't. I think of this data in a minute. At the same time, if my mind's very still, my mind's very still. I don't often um, channel energy quite this way, but I'm feeling, and the interesting thing is that first of all, we all have this ability to some level. Um, I also hate scammers. I discovered somebody new that does mediumship. I mean, we're all unique and nobody's perfect. But I discovered somebody new that does it. I went to the website though to see what their rates were, and yeah, they're unethically high. I would say, even if they're good. I don't think I was looking at group rates, and I mean, especially when you reach a certain level of success, you don't need that as much because you're doing all right. So it's not about that necessarily. But it is about the healing. And usually, when I channel angels, it happens to be my own loved ones. What I'm finding interesting at the moment is the struggle to define whose energy I'm sensing. I feel like if it was one of my own loved ones, unless it's somebody I don't know has passed yet, they tell me. I have been feeling, even though I'm kind of in that mode, quite a sense of calmness and zen. And I sense that whoever I'm channeling was that type of person. Not to say that they weren't a big personality or, you know, weren't necessarily a social type of person. And it's going to become, I guess, obvious to me or somebody, perhaps, who I'm talking about, you know. And if people look later and they see that no one's came into this, you know, maybe this person's loved one is waiting for the right time to bring them in. Or we'll get it to them some other way. Or maybe it will happen here. But I am sensing, and I don't do this stuff on this channel on here very often, but I am sensing somebody wanting to not only get me in the meditation mode and through me, and interesting it's something earlier in this, through me speak to whoever may hear it, hopefully including their loved ones. And I guess we'll just say that if this sounds like your loved one, it very well may be. Now it's interesting. I was thinking of someone I haven't seen in years that I do kind of know who has some health problems. Saw her a couple of years ago. We briefly ran into each other. I wish, because it had been somebody that had worked in an agency that I'd went to, and we'd lost touch because she left the job and I didn't really go there as much anymore, and none of the staff were helping very much. And we had went to a couple bakeries, and then we were going to check out one other one. I think this was when we had just discovered a couple of the ones in our area, and I don't know if they were necessarily new. One of them had reopened, I think, and we were stopping at the bank, whatever, and she was standing beside a car waiting for somebody, or just standing there for a moment, and you know, we talked for a few minutes, but and I guess I have thought of it once or twice in the past few weeks. But I never thought to say, oh, we should swap contact information, stay in touch. Later, I told myself she may not have been in a place in life or how we were connected as kind of client staff person to But again, she was no longer there anymore. It didn't happen. And I do believe down on a coma once. I'm sensing the name Jen. Whether it's the same Jen or not, that my mind, as soon as I heard the name Jen, and I know it's kind of common, I'm thinking of ones I've known, right? And ones that kind of fit this kind of Zen meditation yoga type of theme. So I'm thinking it's her, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, what I'm hearing is let's just meditate and do this special thing, regardless. And I'll either feel I know or I don't know more strongly, or you'll feel that you know the person who it is, and if you don't, that's fine too. So we're a bit into this video when this finally kind of comes up, but she's saying this. She's saying, if it's only you here on your video right now, and it is, she's saying, acknowledge it, that it's okay, that is okay. Interesting. And she's saying, say it once more, it's okay. She says, you may hope for more, and someday you may get the recognition that you deserve, but I can tell that it's not just about recognition that you're aiming for. And she says, and I hate to interrupt this moment. It'd be one thing if there was people watching, because maybe they'd kind of be absorbing this, maybe putting thoughts about it, or just kind of sitting in this, which is the same pretty much as absorbing it, I guess. Well, you were speaking to me a little bit, and I'm hearing, I want you to be comfortable. If there's something that you feel that you need to do, but I don't really want to be away from the screen, especially since whom I'm channeling is not a physical being anymore. So they can't actually be on the screen in my absence. And it's a laptop. Otherwise, I could bring the phone out upstairs, place it somewhere, talk at the same time, maybe. I don't know. But, so I'm going to try and ignore it, because sometimes the feeling does kind of become not noticeable for a while. And never forever. Never forever. It's an interesting title. So, what is interestingly transpiring here is I am trying to, or there is going to be the viewer left. And I already know. And anybody who's seen up to this point already knows. Maybe they thought, well, who are you to do? I mean, I'm the person posting the content, so if I feel it's interesting, I can feel it's interesting, and it sure is. It sure is. Because I have led a couple meditations on this channel before. Just last night, I did a very short one with somebody, and I said, I haven't done them in a while. I should get back into them, whether it's leading them or what. And this morning, I saw something online, and it made me think, But I do feel, well, if nothing else, I have the music playing. And what I can do is say 50 mark back in 5 or less. And they can also see the stuff at the side, whether it's highlighted for them or not, they can still see it. I hate to break this moment of zen, but I'm not in it as strongly as I feel like I'm likely going to be in this yet. So that's a sign. I'll be right back. 10 to 2, 5 to 2 by this one. Okay. I'm not sure what I want to do. This is at 52 minutes. So it's a little on the long side. I'm thinking of maybe starting another podcast. Which is solely the meditation, because we really haven't started it yet. So if you've seen this far and you're curious, feel free to come and check it out.